that the status quo we have year after year after year can in fact change if we want to make it change. Today in America, now listen to this, shamefully in our country, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. China is a communist authoritarian country. They don't tolerate dissent very much. 4 times our size, we have more people in jail than China. Now, what we have got to do is get to the root causes of those problems and resolve them. Cause number 1, no one talks about it, the media doesn't talk about it. Here is an important fact. Today in America, we have an outrageously high rate of youth unemployment. Kids who graduate high school between 17 and 20, if they're white, 32% are unemployed or underemployed. Latino, 36%. African American kids, 51%. Now, it seems to me to make a lot more sense for us to invest in our young people in jobs and education and not in jails and incarceration. And we need major reforms of police departments around this country. Now, I was a mayor for 8 years, and I worked with police officers in my state and police officers all over the country. Vast majority of police officers are honest, hardworking, and they have a very difficult job. Officer breaks the law, like any other public official, that officer must be held accountable. We need to end the demilitarization of local police departments. Reflect the diversity of the communities they serve. We need to end the privatization of jails and detention centers. We need to rethink the so-called war on drugs. That over the last 30 years, millions of Americans have received criminal records for possession of marijuana. The reality is that today, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug. The top of the list. To heroin, a killer drug. Now, a lot of people argue the pluses and minuses of marijuana, but marijuana is not heroin, that's for sure. Legislation to take marijuana out of the controlled substance. The decision to legalize marijuana is a state issue, not a federal issue, but I don't believe that possession should federal crime. When we talk about drugs, I can tell you that in my own state, neighboring New Hampshire, all across this country, we have an epidemic of heroin and opiate addiction. Every single day, people are dying from overdosing. This is a national tragedy, a national crisis. I believe that the best way we deal with that crisis is not looking at addiction and substance abuse as a criminal issue, but looking at it as a health issue. Secretary Clinton appears to be getting a little bit nervous. We have won 7 out of 8 of the recent primaries and caucuses. And she has been saying lately that she thinks that I am, quote unquote, not qualified to be president. Response to Secretary Clinton, I don't believe that she is qualified. If she is, through her super PAC, taking tens of millions of dollars in special interest loans. You are qualified if you get $15 million from Wall Street through your super PAC. You are qualified if you have voted for the disastrous war in Iraq. I don't think you are qualified if you have supported virtually every disastrous trade agreement which has cost us millions. I don't think you are qualified if you supported the Panama Free Trade Agreement. Something I very strongly opposed, in which, as all of you know, has allowed corporations and wealthy people all over the world to avoid paying their taxes to their countries. This campaign is gaining momentum because we are listening to the American people, not wealthy campaign contributors. To working people. And what workers are telling me is they can't make it on $7.25 an hour, or $8, or $9, or $10. What workers are telling me is that we need a national minimum wage of $15. Living in poverty. This campaign is listening to senior citizens and disabled veterans. As the former chairman of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs, I have done and will continue protect the men and women who have put their lives on the line. Seniors and disabled vets tell me they can't make it on $11,000 or $12,000 a year Social Security and their rights. Amazingly, we got Republicans running all over this country. They want to cut Social Security benefits. Well, I've got some bad news for them. We're not going to cut Social Security benefits. We're going to expand Social Security. This campaign is listening to young people. With young people, I tell them all across the country, is how does it happen when we do the right thing and we go out and we get a college education, we end up $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt. Why are we being punished for getting an education? People who get an education should be rewarded, not punished. We're going to do two things. Number one, in the year 2016, when we talk about public education, it is not good enough to talk about public education being first grade through 12th grade. And here's why. 50 years ago, you went out and got a high school degree. The likelihood was that you would go out and get a pretty good job and make it to the middle class. But the world has changed, the economy has changed, technology has changed. People today need more education. That's why I believe that when we talk about public education today, we should be talking about making public college tuition free.